Hey, welcome back. We're going to carry on from where we left off last week. If you remember, we won the tuned Celica, which is front wheel drive, so we can do the front wheel drive event. 205 horsepower, it's a B class. It's the Lotus Exige of the front wheel drive world. Different track this time. Now this one, the shipyards, is a lot longer than it feels. It's 4 miles long, but it doesn't feel that long. But anyway, excuse me. Yeah, the only thing I will say about this track, fun fact, it's also the only track in this game and the first track ever in Forza history that's at night. Fun fact there. Also, the curbs on some of the corners, especially in the actual dockyard bit, are very high. So you can't cut the corner too much, because if you do, you will have a huge accident. Oh, I'm not starting on pole this time. No, it's fine. I've got a supercharger. It's got no pressure at all, but it is there. It's doing something, because I mean, what was this car's 190 is standard. This one has 205, so it is doing something, but not much. Although this car, when you drive it, it's definitely tuned for handling rather than speed. It's very, very quick round corners. And it's very light as well. But it is literally like the Lotus Exige of the front wheel drive world. I mean, the Celica was never the quickest car in the world. I mean, the GT4 was kind of quick, but they didn't do a GT4 version of this generation. And to be honest, I think that is the reason they ended up killing it off, because people were expecting, you know, because the one that came before this was great, it was a really quick car. So I think people were expecting the new one to be just as good, if not better, and it just wasn't. So that's probably why they ended up killing it off. Same with the MR2. I mean, the Mark III MR2 was nowhere near as quick as the Mark II, because the Mark II, they did the GTS version, turbocharged, 210 horsepower. The Mark III didn't even come close to that. They didn't do a sporty version of the Mark III. And you could get an MX-5 with the 1.8, and it was just as quick and a lot cheaper. I don't know, like, oh, with the MR2 is mid-engined. Yes, but the MX-5 is more practical and cheaper, so, you know, that's inevitably what killed the MR2 off. Although there is rumours that both of them are coming back, so we'll see. And I've heard that neither of them are planned to be electric. I think they're both hybrids, but they're not electric. And I think both of them have got the engine from the GR Corolla in them, so about 400 horsepower with the hybrid system. Yeah, and it's a 3-cylinder, so it sounds pretty good as well. 3 cylinders sound better than 4 cylinders. At college, I was like the only person who thought that, but I know I'm right. 3 cylinders sound way better than 4 cylinders. One of the best sounding 3-cylinder engines is the 2-stroke out of a Wartburg. I don't know if you've heard that, but it's a great noise from such a small engine. It's a crap car, slow, rubbish car, looks horrible, but it sounds great. Yeah. Put that engine in a go-kart, that'd be wicked. Because obviously it's not that powerful, but go-karts don't weigh anything, so it don't really matter that it's not that powerful. We're at level 5, General Motors. No, I will get the prize before I win the event. There you go, Pontiac GTO. Not the best car, but it'll do. Yeah, I think the worst thing about that car is that they had the audacity to call it the GTO, when in reality it was just a Holden Monaro with a different face. And I know the Camaro was basically one of those underneath. But it's like, how bad was the old one? if like you want to go to the Australians for some sophistication. I mean, I do quite like the Mark IV Camaro. I think I'm not one of the few people that do. Especially in SS trim, I think it looks great. But funny enough, I do prefer the Mark IV Mustang. And I know like that generation of muscle cars are generally perceived as pretty wet and crap, but I feel like that's the generation where they started caring again. Because obviously the Mark II and the Mark III, I mean the Mark III was kind of okay, with regards to the Mustang at least. The Mark III was kind of okay. They had the Cobra version of the 5.8 V8, but it was only like 240 horsepower or something. It wasn't that quick. And then obviously the Mark V came in. They initially had 300 horsepower for the V8 one, which wasn't great, but then they did the Shelby version with 500. And then they did the facelifted Mark V, which I think is which is probably my favourite Mustang of all time. The facelift Mark V GT500, the one that had 662 horsepower. And then obviously you had the Super Stake version, which had like 800, and then you had the Shelby 1000, which had, guess what, 1000. But yeah, I don't know how I went from driving a Celica to talking about Mustangs. How did I even get onto that? So I was talking about Celicas, and then I was talking about oh yes, because I won a Pontiac, and I was saying how it's a Monaro. Yeah, okay, and then I went off on a massive tangent. That's ADHD for you. Anyway, there's not really, I'm not really stressing that much in these races, because like I said, they are incredibly easy, even on hard difficulty. They're not that hard. Ooh, a little tap there, nothing major. Yeah, there is a one thing with this truck as well. There are truck trailers just chilling like around some of the corners, and I mean obviously it's pretty easy to avoid them, but like if you went a bit wide on that corner you could easily clip it. I did do it once before. I think when I first played the game, because I was quite late to the Forza. Well, I wasn't that late, but my first Forza game was Motorsport 3. I got it when I was 10 years old. I might have been 11. I think I was 10. 10 years old. I got an Xbox 360 and Motorsport 3. It was my first ever game. Because my dad had a PS1 and a PS2, which I sort of played occasionally. But the Xbox 360 was my first console. That was mine. I've still got it. I haven't had any work into it. We've got an MR2. Speak of the devil, I was talking about the MR2. It's the border version. So yeah, don't know what that means. Probably means it looks like it's got a body kit on it. So, well, yeah, that's the front wheel drive championship journey. And we're now level 5, so we've unlocked the MR Eclipse versus Integra and the Impreza versus Lancer. So we'll do those in the next video. Until then, bye.